Hello, everyone. This is a thematic introduction to the course. There'll be another video in which I do a practical course tour to show you, how what the requirements are and how things are laid out and how the course will proceed. That's something to supplement the syllabus. This is just sort of walking you through what we will read and my ideas behind arranging things the way I have. There'll also be a course description in the syllabus, but this will be a little more extensive. Let me walk you through what we'll do before I actually try to characterize the course as a whole. Obviously, it's an introduction to moral philosophy, but I'm taking a particular approach. You see, week one, first thing you need to do, there's really no reading, and that was my idea. First week, let's just approach an ethical problem without any kind of preparation. Let's just use the resources that we have as human beings who certainly have moral capabilities. So what I've done is made up a little hypothetical, little case study involving Joe, poor old Joe. And you'll see that there's a video to go along with it. There's no reason to go into it anymore. I'm going to ask you to do some moral reasoning, some moral analysis, or as I say, ethical analysis right off the bat, without any preparation, without any trying to influence you by having you read great moral philosophers or introduce you to moral theories. Let's just see how we deal with a moral problem, how we analyze a moral problem, just with our native, natural moral abilities. And that's all of week one. Week two, we get a crash course into moral theories, or two theories of how moral decisions should be correctly made. One from Kant. Kant is the philosopher, and Kantianism is the philosophy, let's say, that follows Kant. And then utilitarianism, especially John Stuart Mill. Very quick introduction. You'll see the videos. This is actually something I use when I introduce Kant and utilitarianism to my engineering ethics students when I teach engineering ethics at Drexel. I'm an adjunct, so I teach all around. I thought that's worked out well, and I thought it would be a good way to get started here in a general moral philosophy course. So after week one, when we just sort of approach a moral problem, an ethical problem, and do an analysis without any kind of prep or influence, just in our natural way, and then the idea is, well, let's take a look at a couple of formal ethical frameworks, Kantianism and utilitarianism, and let's get the basics, very quick introduction, and then let's analyze it from that point of view. Let's see how Kant would deal with the problem and how utilitarianism would deal with the problem. So that's ethical analysis too. And then in addition to that, a brief review question assignment where I basically ask you, well, did you change your analysis at all from week one as a result of reading about utilitarianism and Kantianism? Why, did that affect the way that you saw the problem? Did it affect your solution or your analysis to the problem? Which is something I'm very interested in, right? And you'll see this is a theme of the course, is dealing with things in a sort of impromptu or unprepared, natural way, and then seeing if moral philosophy actually, how it affects, if it affects our analysis of moral problems. So after our very quick introduction to what I'm calling formal ethical frameworks of Kant and utilitarianism, then we spend a month actually taking what I call a deeper look into those theories that we were introduced to in a very quick and dirty way in week two. Weeks 3 and weeks 4, we'll take a deeper dive into Kant's moral philosophy. Weeks 5 and week 6, we'll take a deeper dive into utilitarianism by reading what is a very readable book, John Stuart Mill's Utilitarianism from around 1860. And after our 4-week examination of Kantianism and utilitarianism, there will be an exam on Kant and utilitarianism. I'll talk more about that. So after we're done with that, we will return to we will turn away from broad moral theories to specific issues. And the first issue that we'll look at is the issue of abortion. I'm going to going back to just, here's a question about abortion, go ahead and answer it in whatever way you see fit, just expressing your opinion about the ethics of abortion. We'll do that for week 7. That's all there is for week 7. And then week 8, we begin another deeper look. Weeks 8 and 9, we'll read 2, I think, really classic essays by moral philosophers, Judith Jarvis Thompson and Don Marquis, who are on different sides of the abortion issue. So again, we're approaching it. Well, we're approaching it from wherever we are in week 7. I mean, week 7, you've thought about Kant, you've thought about utilitarianism, but the analysis is just, what is basically your stance on abortion and why. Then we will look deeper into the subject of abortion, looking at different arguments. One that is obviously a defense of abortion. Another that says abortion is immoral. Maybe not always immoral, but generally speaking, immoral. And then we'll have an exam. Our second exam will be on Thompson and Marquis. These will be basic exams for this course. I mean, I really expect you to be studying the texts that I gave you to read, to know them really well, to understand them. And the exam is really a reading exam. Do you understand the text? Do you understand especially the basic central principles of the text? Can you explain them? But I'll talk more about exams when they come along. And then after our deeper look into abortion, we will do another ethical analysis, which is basically an analysis that asks you, to re-engage in the issue of abortion after having read Marquis and Thompson. And again, the idea is, well, let's think about whether or not we changed our initial ideas, our initial stance as a result of reading moral philosophy, or whether we didn't, whether that didn't really change the way we see the issue. Week 11, we're going to go into the question of giving. And basically, when I mean giving to charity, giving, beneficent giving, like giving to people in need and our duties, or whether we have duties to do so. I haven't formulated the question yet. There'll be a hypothetical in week 11, which is much like the hypothetical in week 1, in form. And then we'll do another deeper look. We'll read Peter Singer's Famine, Affluence, and Morality, and then John Arthur's criticism of Singer, World Hunger and Moral Obligation. So that's all in one text. So we'll read Singer week 12. We'll read John Arthur week 13. Then again, after this deeper look into the issue, as we did with the earlier deeper looks, there will be an exam, again, a reading exam. You should be able to discuss the reading, explain the basic points of the reading, to some degree subjected to criticism. And then the last week of the course, again, just as we did in the abortion issue, we'll go back. There'll be a writing assignment, an ethical analysis assignment, in which I'll ask you to re-engage with the issue of giving, just basically, again, charitable giving. And think about whether what we read from Arthur and Singer actually influenced you or affected the way you saw the issue. So that is the course, week 14. So I've walked you through what we'll be doing every week. I've given you some notion of why we'll be doing what we are. As far as a general characterization of the course, first of all, it is an introduction to moral philosophy. That's what Moral Foundations is. Any introduction to a subject is necessarily going to be partial. It's too wide a field to try to do in some comprehensive way in one semester. So every teacher has to take a certain approach, make certain choices about what they want to do and what they have to leave out. Okay. So it is just an introduction to moral philosophy, but it really is a class that is about moral reasoning. All the ethical analyses that you'll do from week 1 till the end of the course are really basically reasoning about moral issues and coming up with arguments about them that express your ideas. So you could say that the course number 1 is about moral reasoning, subjecting moral problems to analysis. Secondly, it's really a questioning about the value of formal moral philosophy. People like Kant and Mill, people who are focusing on particular issues like Thompson and Marquis and Singer and Arthur, whether those sort of examples of moral reasoning help us to clarify our own ideas about the issues that they talk about. So really, the course is really about moral reasoning, and it's a kind of a examination of how much we do actually incorporate the things that we read in moral philosophy into our moral reasoning. So it's a course that I put together for this particular semester. It's a new way of teaching it for me, but I'm always looking for ways to teach moral philosophy better, and I'm never really satisfied with the way I've been doing it for the past 30 years. So the new try. So it's an experiment, but these are all readings that I know really well, and I think we should be able to do fine. So that's a general description of what we'll be doing. Obviously, I'll be doing lots of videos and during our meetings trying to explain myself further about what we're doing in the course, why we're doing it, and of course, particular readings that we happen to be doing at any one time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If you would email me directly at my St. Joe's email or call me, we can discuss any aspect of the class you wish.